Hey, this is Steven from Wild Stuff. Welcome to the show. This video is my review of the TK16 version 2.0, a 3100 lumen pocket-sized powerhouse from Fenix with a dual tail switch for easy one-handed operation. I'll run through an overview of its main features, show you some beam shots and comparisons with some other popular Fenix lights, and then we'll take it outside and shine it around a bit. As with my previous videos, I'm not going to waste time poring over all the technical specifications, run times, and physical dimensions, etc. If that's what you're looking for, then a quick Google search will point you in the right direction. And before we get started, I just want to mention that I purchased this light with my own money because I genuinely wanted one, and this video is in no way sponsored by Fenix. So the TK16 version 2 can output 3100 lumens in turbo mode, which I believe, at least at the time of making this video, makes it Fenix's most powerful flashlight that can still fit in your pocket and be powered by a single battery. They do make bigger and brighter lights, but nothing quite in this form factor that I'm aware of. It runs on a single 21700 battery with 5000 mAh, which comes included with the light. This is distinctly larger than a regular 18650 style of battery. The battery also has an integrated USB-C port for charging, which I think is wonderful, as it means you don't have to worry about separate battery chargers or charging port covers with rubber flaps that don't last very long. This means less opportunity for dust or water ingress, and fixing a damaged charging port is as easy as replacing the battery. The TK16 version 2 sees the return of the twin tail switch from the original TK16, which makes for quick and easy one-handed operation. The large button powers the light on and off with a firm and responsive click, and also provides momentary on, while the smaller button toggles between the 5 brightness settings or instant strobe when held down. Like the original TK16, the new model also features a very aggressive striking bezel, but now they've also added 3 tiny pointy tungsten steel striking tips designed to focus the force of your strike down to a pinpoint area should you ever need it to break a window. And in a self-defense scenario, this could be devastating in the right hands. While it's not really marketed as an everyday carry kind of light, the TK16 version 2 fits comfortably in a side pocket of a pair of jeans or trousers, despite the larger battery and reflector cone. Shown here, it's sharing my left pocket with my wallet, and I've worn it this way every day for a few months with no issues, even while at work in my physical heavy lifting job. I would expect in the long term, however, that the striking bezel would eventually wear a hole in my pocket, as has happened to me in the past with other lights. And as with every Fenix light I've ever seen, the build quality is absolutely top notch. It's built like a brick and rated to 1 meter of impact resistance and 2 meters of water submersion for about 30 minutes or so. Here in Australia, the TK16 version 2 goes for about 160 Aussie dollars from Fenix Australia, or about $100 US from the various dealers in the United States. Here's a quick run through of what you get in the box. First up, there's the torch itself, with a pocket clip and a small wrist lanyard. A 21700 battery with a built-in USB-C charging port. A simple belt pouch. A USB-C charging cable, the usual paperwork with a basic instruction manual and warranty information, and a couple of spare O-rings. Now I'll run you through a few physical comparisons with some other Fenix lights. First up, we have the original TK16, shown here on the left, compared to the version 2 on the right. The overall size, shape and form remains mostly unchanged, with the obvious updates being the new striking bezel, the removal of the anti-roll ring, and a deeper pocket clip. Despite the much larger battery in the new model, the body is only a fraction of a millimeter wider, and this difference is barely noticeable. Next we have the PD40R version 2. I figure a lot of people watching this video would be trying to decide between this and the TK16. Overall, they're approximately the same size, give or take a few millimeters here and there. The PD40R lacks a tail switch in favour of a mechanical rotary dial and has a USB-C charging port built into its body. Its striking bezel is also much more sedate than the TK16. And last but not least, my favourite EDC light of all time, the PD35R. Having lived in my pocket every day for about 2 years, I'm using some duct tape to secure the rubber flap on the USB port, but apart from that it's still going strong. It takes up noticeably less space in your pocket, yet still packs a wallop. Now, to give you an idea of beam patterns and relative brightness, I've got a blank wall here about 6 feet away from the camera. Don't worry too much about the colour cast, as my wall isn't completely pure white, so it's not the flashlight's fault. I also had to underexpose the footage quite a lot so that turbo mode wouldn't blow the picture out completely, so the softer modes might be difficult to see. Here it is side by side with the PD40R version 2 in turbo mode. The PD40R has a slightly tighter beam that equates to a longer throw, but overall the TK16 seems more impressive. And compared to the PD36R, the winner is obvious, though the PD36R is still putting up a good fight given it's a few years older, has a smaller reflector cone, and has around half the lumen output. And lastly, we can see that the TK16 version 2 completely dominates the original TK16. I also did my very unscientific heat test, where I time how long I can hold the head of the flashlight in turbo mode until it becomes too hot to hold anymore. Through normal usage, I've noticed that the TK16 version 2 heats up very quickly, and I didn't expect to last very long. With the stopwatch on, it definitely was uncomfortably hot after around 30 seconds, but surprisingly it didn't actually reach the point of being burning hot and painful until after 2 minutes. And now to show some real life usage. The tree line you can see there is about 50 meters or 165 feet, or the length of an Olympic swimming pool from where I'm standing. I'll start with the TK16 version 2 in my right hand, and then add the PD40R version 2 in my left. Neither of them have any issues at all lighting up the bush, and it's very hard to declare one as better than the other, just from looking at the footage. The PD40R has a tiny bit more throw, and the TK16 has 100 extra lumens and a slightly wider hotspot. If you notice any flickering, again, that isn't the flashlight's fault, it's due to a nearby street light disagreeing with my choice of recording frame rate. And for the final comparison, I'll swap out the PD40R for the PD36R. So to wrap everything up, here's my quick list of pros and cons for the TK16 version 2. Firstly, it's insanely bright. This goes without saying. At the time of making this video, it's the most powerful light I've ever owned. The dual tail switch is fantastic, easy and intuitive. This is my favourite style of switch. Turbo mode is still useful even when the battery is less than half full. It doesn't seem quite as bright once it gets to that point, but turbo mode can still be used. The same can't be said for the PD40R version 2, where turbo mode is no longer an option once the battery reaches around the 80% mark. It easily fits in a trouser pocket and can be used for everyday carry if you wanted to. And that new striking bezel looks pretty hardcore. And the very small list of cons I had to try really hard to come up with. Firstly, it gets hot very quickly. Some sort of lockout switch would be nice. This light has serious potential to burn a hole in your pants or bag if you bump the on switch. A two-way pocket clip would be nice, like the one on the PD36R, but that's just personal preference. The included clip really is fine, or you could swap it out if you wanted to. And lastly, it doesn't tail stand. I know it's not a big deal. So in summary, I now have two favourite Fenix flashlights. For compact size, everyday carry and general utility, I recommend the PD36R. For a self-defense or home security scenario, or just the brightest torch you can fit in your pocket, I highly recommend the TK16 version 2. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel, where I have more flashlight reviews, motorbike adventures, photography, time-lapses and other cool outdoors stuff. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more equipment reviews.